BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager with $13.5 trillion in assets under management as of 2025. But BlackRock is not just a company. BlackRock is a shadow government that controls corporate America from the shadows. BlackRock's power is so vast and so hidden that most people don't even know the company exists, let alone understand how it's reshaping the entire world. Today we're exploring how BlackRock became terrifying, why the company is dangerous to democracy and freedom, and what few people understand about how much power one institution now wields. This is the complete story of BlackRock's hidden empire, and why the company's dominance represents an existential threat to global freedom and economic independence. BlackRock was founded in 1988 by Larry Fink and 7 other individuals at Blackstone Group with just a $5 million credit line. The company started as a risk management and fixed income institutional asset manager, serving large institutional clients exclusively. By 1992, the firm adopted the name BlackRock and separated from Blackstone in 1994 to operate as an independent asset management company. In 1999, BlackRock went public with an IPO at $14 per share, raising capital for aggressive expansion and acquisition. By the end of 1999, BlackRock was already managing $165 billion in assets, demonstrating the enormous demand for professional asset management. In 2006, BlackRock completed a merger with Merrill Lynch investment managers, significantly expanding its retail and international presence. In 2009, BlackRock made the acquisition that changed everything. It purchased Barclays Global Investors, a deal that included the powerhouse iShares ETF platform. This acquisition catapulted BlackRock to become the world's largest asset manager overnight, surpassing $3.3 trillion in assets under management. From 2009 onward, BlackRock's growth accelerated exponentially as the company consolidated its dominance in the asset management industry globally. By 2024, BlackRock's assets under management had reached $10.5 trillion, representing approximately 40% of America's entire economic output in a single company. By 2025, BlackRock's assets under management surged to $13.5 trillion, making the company bigger than the GDP of every country except the United States and China. If you're watching this and you're terrified by the concentration of financial power in a single unelected institution, like this video to show that corporate power concerns you, and subscribe because we're exposing how hidden institutions control your freedom and economic future. To understand BlackRock's true power, you have to understand that the company doesn't just manage money, it controls corporations through voting rights. BlackRock is the largest shareholder in 88% of S&P 500 companies, meaning BlackRock has voting rights and influence at almost every major American corporation. The average stake BlackRock holds in publicly listed companies is 5.8%, making it the single largest shareholder in most industries. This voting power allows BlackRock to control executive compensation decisions, determine whether CEOs stay or get fired, and influence corporate strategy. BlackRock maintains a stewardship team that exercises voting rights on behalf of its clients, effectively functioning as a shadow board of directors for corporate America. When BlackRock votes, it can force companies to comply with its agenda regardless of whether shareholders agree or whether the decisions benefit the company. In 2019, Larry Fink wrote a letter to CEOs instructing them to prioritize ESG, environmental, social, governance objectives above profits and shareholder returns. Following Fink's letter, corporations with high BlackRock ownership increased their use of democratic partisan language in corporate communications. Research demonstrated that BlackRock's voting power could change company behavior, forcing political alignment with Fink's personal ideology. BlackRock used its voting power to support activist hedge fund engine No.1 in forcing ExxonMobil to replace board members with climate activists. This demonstrated that BlackRock could use its voting power to remove corporate leaders and replace them with people aligned with Fink's personal agenda. But BlackRock's power extends far beyond voting at corporate board meetings. The company has built a technology platform called Aladdin that represents true hidden power. Aladdin is an acronym for Asset, Liability and Debt and Derivative Investment Network, a proprietary platform that processes financial data on a global scale. Aladdin manages over $21 trillion in assets globally, which is significantly more than the $13.5 trillion in BlackRock's own assets under management. This means Aladdin has visibility into financial flows from competitors, from rival institutions, from pension funds, from sovereign wealth funds across the entire world. Aladdin processes real-time data on global stock markets, bond markets, currency markets, commodity markets, and alternative investments simultaneously. The platform uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to identify patterns, forecast market movements, and predict financial risks before they happen. Aladdin can simulate market scenarios including nuclear wars, pandemics, economic collapses, and natural disasters to stress test portfolios. Aladdin alerts its users to emerging risks before the rest of the market sees them, giving BlackRock and its clients an unfair information advantage. This information advantage means BlackRock can make investment decisions with knowledge of market movements before other investors know they're coming. Aladdin operates from a massive data center in Wenatchee, Washington, with over 6,000 computers processing financial data simultaneously around the clock. The platform serves approximately 70% of the world's sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, and insurance companies, giving BlackRock unparalleled visibility into global finance. Aladdin's technology advantage is so significant that competitors cannot match it, creating a permanent competitive moat that guarantees BlackRock's dominance forever. But BlackRock's true power isn't just voting at corporations or having information advantages. It's the combination of both things, creating a system of total control. BlackRock can see what markets will do next through Aladdin's predictive analytics and then vote its shareholdings to position its companies favorably for those changes. When BlackRock votes to force a company to pursue ESG policies, it simultaneously knows through Aladdin what will be profitable ESG investments. This creates an insider trading dynamic where BlackRock has information advantages and uses corporate voting to position companies for outcomes it knows are coming. BlackRock's power over corporations extends to government relationships because the company advises governments on financial policy while controlling corporate behavior. During the 2008 financial crisis, BlackRock was retained to manage $30 billion in assets from the failed Bear Stearns investment bank. BlackRock was also appointed as the monitor for $5 trillion in assets held by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac during the government bailout. This government relationship established BlackRock as the primary advisor to the U.S. government on financial system stability. In 2020, BlackRock was retained to manage the Thrift Savings Plan, which holds approximately $600 billion in retirement investments for millions of military members and federal employees. This means BlackRock controls the retirement savings of America's entire military and federal government workforce. BlackRock executives regularly rotate between the company and senior government positions, creating a revolving door between BlackRock and financial regulatory agencies. This revolving door means that the people writing financial regulations have direct financial incentives tied to BlackRock's business interests. BlackRock's political influence extends beyond government to controlling corporate political behavior through voting power and stewardship. The company has become so powerful that corporations must align with BlackRock's agenda to remain in the company's portfolio of holdings. Companies that refuse to comply with BlackRock's ESG demands face the threat of divestment, which can lower stock prices and trigger shareholder panic. In this way, BlackRock has weaponized the voting power and scale to force corporations to comply with the personal ideology of Larry Fink. BlackRock's influence became so controversial that in 2024, the company faced intense backlash from Republican politicians and conservative investors. Politicians in 20 different states passed laws restricting public pension funds from investing in ESG-focused funds, directly targeting BlackRock's strategy. In response, BlackRock dramatically cut support for environmental and social shareholder proposals from 47% in 2021 to only 4% in 2024. This flip-flop revealed that BlackRock's ESG commitments were not based on principles but on political and business calculations. BlackRock also faced criticism from activist investors pointing out the hypocrisy of claiming ESG commitments while maintaining massive investments in fossil fuel companies. Bluebell Capital Partners wrote demanding Larry Fink resign, claiming BlackRock was practicing apparent hypocrisy in its ESG approach. Bluebell argued that BlackRock's ESG posturing had alienated clients and caused reputational damage to the company's credibility. Yet BlackRock has refused to acknowledge any validity to these criticisms or commit to genuine ESG reform. The terrifying reality is that BlackRock's power is so vast that the company can afford to ignore criticism from all sides. If you challenge BlackRock on ESG, conservatives attack you for politicizing business. And if you support ESG, you're aligned with corporate woke ideology. BlackRock has successfully positioned itself where it cannot be criticized effectively because the company controls so much of the financial system. The most terrifying aspect of BlackRock's power is how hidden it is from public awareness and democratic accountability. Most Americans don't know that BlackRock holds their retirement savings through pension funds, 401 kiloseconds, and mutual funds invested in BlackRock products. Most Americans don't know that BlackRock votes their shares and exercises corporate governance on their behalf without their knowledge or consent. Most Americans don't know that BlackRock has better information about financial markets than any government, regulator, or institution on earth. Most Americans don't know that one unelected individual, Larry Fink, has become more powerful than many elected government leaders. The concentration of power in BlackRock represents a fundamental threat to democracy because power without accountability is tyranny. BlackRock controls corporations without being elected, votes on corporate governance without consulting shareholders, and exercises power with virtually no public oversight. If a government were to accumulate this much power over the economy, Americans would call it authoritarian control and demand immediate revolution. Yet because BlackRock accumulates power through market mechanisms rather than government, the power is hidden and largely unchallenged. This is the most terrifying aspect of BlackRock's dominance. It represents a new form of corporate authoritarianism that operates outside democratic checks. The company has proven that wealth and scale can concentrate power far beyond what any historical monarchy or dictatorship could achieve. BlackRock's empire demonstrates that in modern economies, private companies can accumulate more power than governments and exercise that power without accountability. This is why BlackRock is terrifying. Not because the company is consciously evil, but because it represents a new model of power that democracy cannot contain. As BlackRock continues to accumulate assets, acquire companies, and expand influence, the company will become even more powerful and even more impossible to challenge. The future belongs to institutions that control capital and information. And BlackRock has become the dominant institution, controlling both. Unless something fundamentally changes in how we regulate financial power and corporate governance, BlackRock's dominance will only increase. And as BlackRock's power increases, human freedom and democratic choice will inevitably decrease. This is why understanding BlackRock is essential for anyone who cares about preserving freedom in the 21st century.